Good morning, afternoon, or evening, Supercast Brothers listeners. I'm Jonathan, otherwise known as Jonno.
And I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Lister, and I do believe the order is good morning, evening, afternoon.
Yeah, that's I think that's the way that the cycle works, so you're correct. I'm sorry for that.
Yes, you should be.
Never.
Solitary is a great show, and everybody should watch it.
Yes, it's true, but speaking of great things and putting on a great show, we're going to have a great show for you today. And the great thing that we have involved is Trevor again, otherwise known as Turbotaxer, our good old friend. Say hello to the people, Trevor.
Hello again. I am back for another round of fun here, and I hope that we have a great show in store for you guys today.
Didn't we just
Oh,
have
yeah.
you last episode?
I think so. I think we did.
This sounds like a scheduling error. I think we need to get a new guest on the line. We can have two people, or somebody twice, in 2 episodes in a row.
Yeah.
What is this
Yep.
nonsense? You
Oh
know what?
man,
Screw it.
Shoot.
Screw the rules. I have money. I don't give a shit.
Well, to Trevor's credit, he was not originally scheduled for the Everybody Is Here episode, and we just kind of threw him on literally 30 minutes before it started.
30 minutes,
recording.
more like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sounds about right.
But what great fun it was. Today is going to be fun too because we're going to be setting Trevor into more of an equal space to talk between us for one of his very favorite series, Mother. And just ahead of time, there's spoiler alerts abound for Mother or Earthbound Zero, Earthbound, Mother 3, the whole franchise. We don't know necessarily where we're going to be taking this ship today when we talk about Porky for Smashtopia. So there you go. If you haven't played the series and you're interested and want to go on spoiler free, this might not be for you right now. But if you don't care, or if you've played the games already, one of us here has played the games already, and they're our guest. Then
Yes, I have.
Then here you go.
In my defense, I've
Welcome.
wanted to play the games. It's just there's never been a right time to do them with all the other games I play and recording sessions I do.
Yep. Hey, you know what? I've read enough about Porky, and I've also played enough of Earthbound, at the very least, to come up with some cool taunts. Like, I think you guys will be pleased by what's in store from yours truly, as always.
Meanwhile, I
As
just
we always
realized
are.
that I've been trying to avoid Earthbound spoilers for when I eventually play the game blind, and well, that's going to get ruined today. All right,
Absolutely.
So, that's going to be
Yes,
fun
it
for
is.
me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Before we get started, there are like some things that I omitted from our previous chat, not purposefully, but just like it was such a breakneck neck pace, having both Trevor and Jake involved, that I didn't give a lot of time to Trevor at the beginning introduction of Everyone Is Here. So I just wanted to give a little bit more background on Trevor's friendship with Lister and I. I've known Trevor for, what is it, 19 years, going on 20 now.
However,
That's
old is
about
Trevor.
right.
That's pretty miraculous, and as Lister can attest, it is difficult enough knowing me for over a decade. How about almost two?
To be fair,
So-
some of those decades I barely heard from you, so that was nice.
Yep. But Trevor and I have been tight like glue, and other things that you can imagine are tight. And that's been our friendship. The first day of first grade, we met each other, and then I eventually got him involved with all of those knuckleheads at Super Smash Bros. Mercurius, the forum that Lister and I met on, and we've been mutual friends ever since. And beyond that, we've had other forum and gaming experiences in the past. We've always played Smash Bros. With each other, other multiplayer games like Lego Racers, everyone's fan favorite.
That was actually a fun game.
It was. I
None of the cheat
worshipped
codes worked.
like Basil the Bat Lord as a kid. I thought he was such a badass. And he's probably still is to this day. I want to replay that when I go back to California.
He still kicks my butt.
Lego Island was better,
yeah.
and I once wanted to make a moveset for the Lego Island characters. I just never.
Hey,
did
you
it.
know what? It's boundless possibilities here on Super Cast Brothers. But yeah, we've bounced around from forum to forum ever since, and just always kept in touch, regardless of distance. And like we've been on Mercurius, Super Smash Bros. Exevius, Super Smash, whatever Club Trevor, all these different forums. A lot of fun. And Trevor and I also produced a single under the moniker T-Fish that you can listen to on Spotify called Bobbler Man. Here's a preview.
That's
And
I feel sorry for all of our viewers who just had their eardrums burst. That was not supposed to happen. That came through rather loud.
my bad, but if you want to hear that in crystalline quality, like I know you do, then head on over to Spotify, and we'll figure out the merch situation after this goes viral.
Oh boy. Oh dear.
Yeah. So that's a little more on Trevor. Is there anything you would like to add to that, Trevor? Because I don't want to slander you.
Yeah, so for all of you that are experiencing eardrum issues after that little bit was playing, I
We're gonna do
advise
it
you to. Oh boy, no, not that. But I do advise you to send all lawsuits to Jonathan, not me.
I would also like to state
Okay,
that Supercast Brothers is not responsible for any loss of hearing while listening to this podcast. You all signed a waiver when you started listening. It is not our fault.
Oh man.
That said, Turbo, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
How did you get the name Turbotaxer?
How did I get the name Turbotaxer?
Yeah, I'm curious. Do tell, please.
So, my first time signing up for a forum on the internet was right before joining the Curious. It was the Starman.net forum, which, if you do not know, is the forum, the unofficial fan forum for all EarthBound series-related games. And I, as a 14-year-old kid, wanted to join this. I tried making a username, but I accidentally switched the username and the pass that I wanted to use. And the pass is something I randomly came up with because I did not have much time on the computer to make it. So I found a box of TurboTax on the table, and I entered what I thought was the password, Turbotaxer. It turns out I switched the fields, and
Oh my God.
I became Turbotaxer, and I just ran with it. I entered it into other forums since. I entered it as all of my gamer tags, and I've kept with it. And hopefully, TurboTax doesn't sue me.
Well, don't answer if you can't, because I don't know if maybe you still use that password or anything. But what was the original username that you were wanting to use at the time?
The original username was Diamondized Jeff. Diamondized, it's a status condition in EarthBound, which is basically petrified in any other role-playing game. And Jeff being a character, I just thought it was a fun name to have as a kid.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh, haha, look at this reference. Don't I know something? But,
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll say that I think Turbotaxer, I think that's a little bit more of a solid, because you got that alliteration, and hey, look, you could be talking on a forum about Pokemon. Now it feels like, hey, look, I'm Diamondized Jeff. What does that mean? I can't explain it to you. It's not Pokemon related.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. TurboTax has certainly become a classic name amongst our brethren over the years. Yeah, good times.
Otherwise, we'd all be calling you Jeff.
And that would be weird because Jeff is his father's name.
oh boy.
Yeah,
On the straight and personal
yeah.
beats, huh?
I think I prefer calling you Turbo.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the astounding laudation for the name, if that's even the word you say.
I mean, your 4-year-old self should definitely feel validated right now.
Deep down inside, I really do.
Good. I'm glad you're so proud of New York too.
And while we're on that subject, where did you get the name Small Tall T Fisher from?
Oh
No need to
boy.
answer that. It's okay. Feel free.
Super Mario 64, Small Tall Island.
That was his nickname in high school. Let me tell you that. Anyway.
Anyway, now that we've got the introduction to Smeltell here out of the way. Good God.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
obviously, we're here to be talking about Porky as a potential character in Super Smash Bros. Porky, who has previously only been featured as under like stickers or trophies or a boss in Super Smash Bros. Brawl Subspace Emissary, And strangely, not even a spirit in Smash Bros. Ultimate. What's up with that? I don't know. I mean, technically, we've got a spirit of like the perfectly safe capsule or whatever that's called. I don't have the exact name of that. Porky hides himself in during the events of Mother 3. So some people say that, oh, that's the Porky spirit. He's in there. It's like, well, okay, well, no, it just says the name of the thing. And it wouldn't be the first spirit we have of an object like, I don't know, the standard bike and standard cart from Mario Kart having their own spirits. Stupid. But as the premier Mother and Earthbound expert, Turbo, why don't you give us a bit of a history primer on who and what Porky or Pokey is?
Oh boy. All right. Off the top of my head, to start off, Porky Minch, as we know him in the US, was a child and neighbor of Ness, as you may know from EarthBound or Smash Bros. He lived right next to Ness's family, and Ness's father had taken out a large loan with Pokey's father for a sum of hundreds of thousands of dollars to start a burger business. Now, admittedly, since Ness was the only person that could put up with Pokey, Pokey would pull pranks on him thinking that it was friendship and start doing other slightly mean things to Ness through their childhood, thinking that it was all friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one day when a meteor crashes into their town, Onett, a bug from the past or future, comes by and says that there are 4 kids that will save the world. Pokey decides, I'm not going to be one of those kids. And he sort of shirks responsibility, decides he doesn't really want to be with Ness if it's going to take a lot of hard work. And then from there, his tendencies to kind of poke and prod and bully a bit get worse and worse. Throughout the Mother series, he eventually becomes possessed by Gygus, and those tendencies become maniacal. He kidnaps a psychic youth named Paula, intending to sacrifice her to a car painting cult. In a happy, happy village, he and his father become advisors to basically a Mr. Monopoly type guy called Monotoli in the town of Forside, of which he then steals and crashes his helicopter, trying to reach Gygus himself, the main antagonist of EarthBound. And then eventually becomes transcends Gygus himself and flees past space and time to where he appears in Mother 3 as the primary antagonist.
Mother 3 being the sequel to EarthBound. We just haven't gotten that game yet into the States.
And yes, in Mother 3, he then sets out to basically destroy the world of any people that might have not liked him, while he fondly reminisces his friends, as he calls Ness and the crew that tried to stop him from EarthBound. Shigesato Itoi, the creator of the series, has gone on to say that Pokey or Porky Minch is like a poem. Because of a sad childhood and misunderstood ways of interacting with people, he started spiraling into worse and worse behavior, just trying to seek friendship. And as such, it spiraled in the fact that he now is trying to destroy the world just to try to find it, because he thinks everybody's out to get him.
Yeah.
And so, without spoiling too much about the game, he goes on to do a lot of terrible things and brings a lot of bad stuff to a very quaint village.
Yeah.
Mother 3.
Yeah. You know, in Porky is definitely a tragic character, but hearing about his backstory from you, I can't help but imagine that in another world, maybe our world, he could have become president of the United States. Anywho.
It's uncanny.
I don't know what comparison you're making there, but
yeah,
I honestly did not know that Porky had a tragic backstory of that. So I mean, I knew that he was a bully. He was kind of a little shithead to Ness, but I didn't know like how exactly he came to like work alongside Gygus or become the main antagonist in Mother 3. I just knew it happened. I didn't know like what's the journey he ends up taking there? It's like, oh, he was actually bullying because he thought it was friendship and he thought it was all nice that people liked him, and then it turns out he realizes, oh, nobody likes him, and now he's
Mm-hmm.
upset about it. It's like, oh shit, I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that they did that. Damn. All right, Nintendo, let's address the bullying
Yeah.
thing here. Damn.
Yeah, that and furthermore, when Trevor first began and they were talking about just how Porky had that childhood, I was thinking, oh man, I am so sorry you two for mistreating you with all the pranks that I've pulled over the years. It wasn't friendship, I promise.
Yeah, we knew you were the villain the whole time.
Yeah, wouldn't be that surprising.
That's why we locked you in the perfectly safe capsule. You're
Yep.
gonna live forever. Good news for you. Bad news is you can't
Mhm.
get out and you can't talk to anybody.
Ah, sounds just like the tragic backstory that
Yes.
I am deserving of.
Yes, you are.
So yeah, Porky versus Pokey. We know him. I think the Smash Brothers series in the West calls him Porky as well,
I
but
think so.
EarthBound, the original translation, calls him Pokey, and I think so. That's just kind of nothing too huge there with the etymology, huh? It's just kind of Nintendo of America at the time with EarthBound just kind of decided to call him Pokey.
Yeah. So like, technically, for now, both are correct. But
Mhm.
typically, the Smash Bros. Community, you'll see the character be referred to as Porky, and if people are talking about specifically Mother 3, they'll say Porky because that's what the fan translation says his name. But a lot of people who have either only played Earthbound Mother 2, or really that's just the first game, that's what sticks with them the most, they'll end up calling him Pokey. But there's really no difference. It's not like an Eris era situation in Final Fantasy VII where it's a legit mistranslation in the American release.
Yeah, and was it like there's other things too. Like, wasn't Gygas's original name like Gigue or whatever?
Gigu, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah.
terrible. Terrible.
Now, Gigu reminds me of a few of my favorite characters: Biomiracle Bokute Upa and Chucky Finster.
We gotta get you new jokes.
Oh boy, when's the Chucky episode?
Never.
In a few weeks, when we find a new co-host who's willing to worship the Chucky god.
I did.
Oh man!
You know what? Maybe we should enter our moveset at this point with discussing our entrance animations that we've thought of.
That's true. Okay.
And I'm coming to realize that I didn't write one down. Oh shit!
Oh!
It's not on my sheet.
Now,
It's not
now
on my
you know how it feels.
Shit.
Now you know how it feels.
When I was editing my sheet from the Gengar version, I must have accidentally deleted that field. Damn it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I can come up one off the top of my head. Hey, look. Oh, actually, there's something that we haven't mentioned about Porky now. He's going to be fighting in this game.
Spider-Mech.
Okay, well, yes, if you want to just go with it unceremoniously, yes, he's fighting into Spider-Mech. Specifically, we could have had Porky just fighting out on his own, running around like Ness, Lucas, and everyone else, but that didn't really feel right to kind of what his character became. In the towards the end of the game of EarthBound, I don't know when we first see it, or if it's just the final battle when we first see it, but you see Porky fighting in a mecha. It's kind of designed to look like a spider. It kind of has like a semi-organic look to it, at least in my opinion it does. Mm-hmm. But then in Mother 3, he's got a much more heavily armored, mechanical, larger spider mech to it. Yeah, where he kind of like can lay in bed and control it, which is strange. It's also what his boss fight looked like in Smash Bros. Brawl. So that's his Mother 3 spider mech. But for this one, we all discussed it ahead of time. We were just like, we want to use the spider mech from EarthBound. That's the design that we're going with here. It looks a little bit more interesting and isn't as gigantic. Yeah. So my entrance animation that I thought of in the last minute was that you would see Porky in the spider mech kind of climbing in from the background. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, imagine if he's like climbing up from some unseen ledge. And he's just kind of like spider crawling up on top of the stage.
Nice.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, yep. So Trevor, what did you have in mind for an entrance? Do you know? Or
I had about the opposite. I wrote down that his spider mech crashes in from above the stage and then wiggles its legs a bit and tests the diagnostics as Porky looks at the other fighter.
Nice.
That's funny. I like that.
Nice. That's awesome. For mine, I just now mine's gonna seem the most boring because it's that he zaps in a flash of reddish orange light inside of the mech, and the mech's legs are retracted as Porky floats a few feet off of the ground, descending in orb form inside of the mech. And then once the mech is just at about ground level, its legs protract and gets into its battle stance. They're ready to go. And I just kind of pulled that from his teleportation ability in Mother 3 and EarthBound. That's about it. But I think actually I'm not going to say anything else because I want to hear what everyone else thinks first. Yep.
So, Trevor, what do you think of those three entrance animations? Which one? You're designing Smasher. You're putting Porky in the game. Which one of these entrance animations do you think is the best one? Just immediately give that first taste of Porky at when people are fighting him.
Trevor's like, guess what, fucker? I choose mine.
I mean, let's be real. Most of the time, we like to choose our own stuff.
I would want to choose my own, but honestly, I really liked yours as well, Lister. I really liked the idea of the spider crawling in. It emphasizes more of the spider mech, which is more of what Porky is going to be using for the fighting because he doesn't want to get himself in. Although I do really like Jonathan's keen attention detail, the fact that within the time that Porky is in Mother 3, that he has learned PSI himself. So, shoot, I got to give points to that, but I do have to give more credence to Lister's idea. I just like the idea better.
I just had another thought. Okay, so I don't know how this works, so you're gonna have to educate me here, Turbo. The end of EarthBound and moving into Mother 3, we know Porky somehow time travels to the future. Do they kind of show what the animation looks like at all? Because what if Porky time traveled straight from the end of Mother 2 into Smash?
Oh, nice.
They don't. They don't really say much at all, except him coming through the end of the battle and saying, like, oh, well, it looks like I'm running away, but actually I'm going to go and try to find some other nefarious plans. I'm going to go travel through space and time. See you, suckers. Spankety, spankety, spankety. And he disappears. And
that would have been awesome.
I would have loved that, too.
Oh, man. What I was thinking is, Lister's idea was really has a cool factor to it, and I like how the emphasis is on the mech acting as a spider and is more spider focused. I also really enjoyed Trevor's though because it offers more of an insight into Porky's character. Because I mean, at the end of the day, the mech is a mech, and the emphasis is also on Porky and his personality. So that made me laugh. So I'm kind of torn on which to choose between the two.
I mean, I'll straight up say I like mine the best. So
that settles it.
My second favorite though is again Trevor's because I really like that. He kind of like from what you described, he kind of like crash lands on the stage and he's like, "Oh shit, is my mech still okay? Let's test out the appendages, make sure they still work. Okay, good, let's fight."
Mm-hmm.
I like that aspect of it because it's like I'm supposed to crash land. I need to make sure my machine still works before I get into this big old battle that's about to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so entrance is decided. I guess we're moving on to taunts now, if I'm looking at this template correctly at the very least.
Yes, we do have our taunts next, and then we'll do our victor post right after that so we can figure out if we want to mix and match any of those.
Yeah, all right.
Mine are kind of lame,
nice.
I will admit, so this is going to be interesting.
All right, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I will. Why not?
Okay.
So the first taunt I have up here is that quite simply enough, safely inside of his spider mech, Porky will point forwards at whoever happens to be in that general direction, and will just laugh with like a pig snorting kind of a laugh.
I like it.
It's like when you start laughing too hard that you just start snorting and everybody makes fun of you because you sound like a pig. That's Porky's laugh to me. His name is Porky. Come on.
Yeah.
He's got a pig mask army in Mother 3. The guy's got some pig themes.
He's all about those pig themes. Yeah.
He's all about that pork.
Yep. It's a pork and good time today with you guys. Let's get Porky. Let's pork it up. Let's get pork.
All right, so Trevor, what's your first thought that you have on the board here?
So, he said Trevor.
Yeah. What's your first
What's,
taunt?
My first time. So I was thinking, nothing too much different. Porky sticks out his tongue, puts his hands up to his ears, and moves them in a mocking manner, sort of moving them side to side, the neener type action.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He's just, no matter how evil he is, he's still a kid at heart.
That's true. What's funny is I think we also had that taunt for Waluigi.
A Gengar, actually. Gengar has that one.
Yeah, it can apply to Gengar and Waluigi. And
it could apply to any of these characters.
Yeah,
We've done
all of these nefarious. We
three,
like our nefarious bastards.
Yeah, we've done 3 villainous / trollish characters in a row. I think we need to break that for the next Smashtopia we do.
Yeah. The next Smashtopia that we do is going to be like, Flame lifts her hands over her head and moves them in a fashion similar to Neener. Anyway, but no, I like that, of course. Simple and to the point. My first one is, so who here has played Deadly Creatures on the Wii?
Who here has heard of Deadly Creatures on the Wii?
Not me.
I'm raising my hand. I just realized that no one can see that because we're not recording on video. So it's a game where you play as arachnids and creatures along those lines and fight each other like a cage match to the death between a scorpion and a spider. And it was fairly well received. Anyway, I was thinking about that game the other day when we were watching Porky from the spider mech angle. And so I wanted to also emulate actual spiders in some of Porky's movements. So my first taunt is Porky lifts the spider mech's front legs forward. Like you can imagine how a tarantula would attack would like hold up its offensive stance like that. Yeah. Forward in a way that emulates a spider on the prowl, and that's about it.
Like it's getting ready to attack.
Yeah, and I mean you can of course include him saying neener or spankety or whatever as he does that, and it's all fair game.
Okay.
Yep.
So my second thought that I came up with was actually him saying spankety, but the way I'm imagining him doing this is he kind of like turns over a little bit into the mech so that he can like actually be slapping his butt while saying spankety as like this mech saying it's like, oh, come at me, but you can't because I own a mech. Get wrecked.
So may I just say that was also my second taunt?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful. It's brilliant. I love it. As soon as I saw that, that's one of the things that's one of his pieces of dialogue in the game. It's just like, oh my god, this has to either be a taunt or a victory pose. I don't care which. I don't care if it's both. It's got to be here. It has to be. It's too perfect.
So I guess that brings it back to me then. If Trevor's is pretty much the same, ad listernum, I think we call that. A bee. So here's this. A bee begins to buzz around Porky's spider mech right in front of the window, and Porky stamps it down with one of the mech's legs with a mischievous smirk and devilish laughter.
Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. A bee is buzzing around his window, or like the big old port that he can see out of, and he smashes it with his leg. Is the bee on the window? Or is he breaking his own mech here?
Oh no! The bee is in front of him. It's around his vicinity.
Okay. So basically, he's going for the chopsticks, catching it. Except he's just going to go stabbing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trevor knows what I'm going for there.
Absolutely, it's a reference to an opening scene in EarthBound where Resistance Warrior from the future comes in the form of a bee. And then, even though helping you defeat a vicious psychic opponent, it easily gets swatted down by Poky's mom.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That'll bring you back to my third taunt then, which I kind of... It's got a fun visual to it, where you see one of the spider legs will kind of like prop up just a little bit. There's this tiny little yo-yo on the end. It's just like throwing the yo-yo back and forth in the air. Nice. It's hilarious to me to just imagine a spider leg playing with a yo-yo.
Nice. And what's balls back in Trevor's court?
My last taunt is Porky pretending to cry, then starting to laugh. The laughter gets gradually grows until it's maniacal. And these tie into when Porky is a party member in the opening parts of the game. 3 of his 8 actions that he can take are pretending to cry, trying to appease the enemy, or laughing shyly.
Hmm. Nice, nice. That kind of plays into my last taunt too, which is just that the mech slips as Porky moves the lever in the wrong way, and so they both fall on their butts. But as he's shaking his head and hopping up to recoup, he's crying. But then as he like massages his neck and gets back into business, he cackles.
All right.
So that was nice playing characteristics, Trevor.
So those
Do
are 8 taunt possibilities, which we will eventually be narrowing down to 3. Oh boy. But before we do that, we got to go into our victory poses because we might swap some of these around. Who knows?
Hmm.
So
Okay.
the first victory pose I actually have 2 of them where he's outside of the mech just because I had some fun little ideas for it. Because it's not like the Spider Mech he can't get out of, it's just he doesn't usually, from my understanding of things. But the first one I have is that Porky will be outside of his Spider Mech with a rag and some cleaner, and he's just giving his Spider Mech a good old polish. Because while he doesn't like
Nice.
work, he is proud of that mech. And he wants to make sure it's clean for fighting. Because, hey, fighting is dirty business. And if that screen gets cracked or there's all kinds of dust involved, he's not going to be able to see out of it and fight properly.
Yeah, I like it.
Hmm.
Back to old Rovert.
All right, so my first victory pose is Porky retreating into the aforementioned absolutely safe capsule and being pushed around the victory screen by Dr. Endonuts, the creator of the capsule himself.
Oh, nice. Nice. I like that.
Is Dr. Andernuts also in Mother 3?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't quite understand how it works. It's not explained a whole lot, but yeah, he's
Maybe Porky traveled back and kidnapped him.
that's my guess.
Maybe,
Or
yeah.
scientific accident.
Yeah,
Anything goes.
maybe. I mean, it makes about as much sense as Back to the Future 3 anyway. With so my victory pose, first one going up is with the pig mask army behind him and saluting him. Porky turns to them and then turns back towards the camera with a grim smirk and both hands held to his sides with his mech standing tall, just being like, heh heh. Mischievous. Sly little leader. Yep.
All right. So my second one is my second one where he's sitting outside the mech suit. But before I can say what it is, hey, Turbo, what is Porky's favorite food?
Porky's favorite food? Shoot, I actually don't know that.
Okay, well then I'm gonna hope the small little bit of information I saw is correct. And I'm having Porky leaning up against the Spider Mech while eating a loaf of bread.
Nice.
Because apparently there's like official artwork or something of Porky eating a loaf of bread. I was like, I'm using that. That's funny.
Nice. Nice. I like it. I like it. I also like bread, so I can agree with Porky there.
I can
Victory
get behind
pose
loafing
2.
around.
Oh yeah, loafing around with the Porkster. So yeah, Trevor, how about you? What's your next pose?
My next pose is Porky holding his hand out in a V for victory pose next to a cardboard cutout of Ness doing the same. The cardboard cutout falls
Nice.
over, but Porky just kind of looks at it, walks over closer to it, and continues to hold the pose.
Nice. Because it plays into his story with Ness. So
Yeah.
that is again thinking outside of the box. Very cool. My second victory pose is incorporating the Pig King statue, which Smash Brothers fans will also remember from the Subspace Emissary. So the Pig King statue is standing beside Porky, and at first they both flex in that traditional strongman's pose, it's the bicep curl, and then as they turn back around, they both slap their butts, and Porky goes spankety, spankety, spankety.
That is beautiful.
Together.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. And then the mech is like off to the side. It's out of use. So, yeah, back up to Lister's court.
With my final and most boring victory pose, Porky's like, you know what, all that fighting tired me out, and he's just sleeping inside of his mech. That's it.
Aww.
He's just taking a good old nap. He had a good fight. He deserves some rest.
Yep. Some respite for the warrior king.
Poor thing.
How about you, Turbo?
My last victory pose is Porky inside of the mech, holding a hand of cards and throwing it down angrily at a game of Go Fish with Porky bots and pig masks.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Nice. I like that. I'm glad that you incorporated them too. Before I give up my final pose, I want to say two things to begin. Playing Bobboy Man in this episode was actually fairly fitting because I was thinking about it later on. We'll keep on talking about Porky and pigs and Porky and pigs. Bobboy in Tagalog means pig.
Yes, it does.
And so that was, we can dive into that background later. But good theme song for this episode. I'll play it again before the end, maybe.
Oh boy.
Lister's like, no.
Volume bad. Volume bad.
So my second thought is here. Before I get into it, Trevor, can you please give us a slight background on the following phrase that I'm about to share with you? Devil's machine.
Devil's machine. Oh boy. So as far as my understanding goes from the game, there is a statue that is within Onet that's hidden within a man's house. His name's Liar Exaggerate, or at least the English translation has his name as that, and he's trying to dig to have it. And anybody that comes in the vicinity of the statue becomes slightly more corrupt. And this corrupting force, it happens to be from the power of Gygus, if I understand. And so as you start to go through the game, you start to see this statue appear in more and more places. First, this house. Second, this cult has the statue as its main shrine. And then you start to see it within a place that's basically a hallucination of a city that's causing everything to be in reverse. And then you see it in a nightmare as Ness's nightmare. And then you see it reflect Ness himself in the final battle. And if you try to attack this Devil's Machine representation of Ness, it just hurts Ness himself. But it's the only thing that can hold Gygus's power, because Gygus's power has grown so much that his own brain has melted, as far as what Pokia says.
Yeah. So that Devil's Machine representation appears in my final victory pose as Porky gets out of his mech and begins walking towards it, and he's sinisterly snarling the closer that he gets, and laughing evilly the closer that he gets to the Devil's Machine. And as he gets closer and closer, the screen fades to black, and there's a light, like psychedelic red wavy effects pervading through the darkness to signal the presence of Gygus.
That is great.
It's funny you bring up the Devil's Machine, because I'll be talking about that again later.
Oh, so will I, my friend.
I had a feeling. So we've got a lot of victory poses here that bring in some extra elements that would appear on the stage, which isn't actually common in most victory poses. So it's kind of found it interesting how we did so many of them for Porky here. Either being like his mech appears outside of him, or the Pig King statue, or his pig mask army. It's kind of interesting how we do that, especially for being a game that it's all sprites. There's no like 3D models or anything of EarthBound or percolated material besides the boss fight in Brawl.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that means we have 9 victory poses and 8 taunts to cut down, and that's where we're at next.
This will be easy.
Will it?
Oh, I'll preface this by saying that this is where I'm going to bring in that extra element that I was speaking about to you, Lister.
Oh, do tell.
I have a category that has been, as far as I know, unforeseen on Smashtopia, both the wiki and podcast thus far, and that is a unique losing pose.
Oh.
Instead of simply clapping his hands and or being or looking down in shame, if Porky loses a match, he won't be seen. Instead, the absolutely safe capsule will be present in his losing slot, and you'll just see that kind of fidgeting around a little.
Oh shit.
Because he's retreated into it. He's retreated into it.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yep. And that's why I didn't tell you yesterday. That's why you had to wait.
All right, so we've got our first losing pose here. I assume unless Turbo has any feelings against that, where he's got
Not
the
at all.
absolutely safe capsule that he's hiding in. And my personal opinion, and feel free to disagree here, but I feel like that would both remove the sleeping in the mech and the absolutely safe capsule victory pose, because you don't really need either one of those when you've got this particular losing pose.
Sounds about right.
That makes.
I mean, hell, we can
everything
include Dr.
easier.
Endonuts in the losing pose, too.
The screen's not big enough for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, does anybody have any other strong feelings about the taunts and victory pose pose that we have here? I know one that I really like was the pig mask salute that we have going on here, where his army is behind him, and you just kind of see them all cheering him on. He's like, "Yeah, I beat him. Goddamn right, I did."
Yeah. Yeah, I dig that one, too. Of course, I came up with a bias.
Naturally.
Yeah, I do feel like I shockingly came up with a few good taunts. A few good victory poses, rather. And that Trevor did the same, because we also have that pig mask and Porky bots playing cards, which is another fun way to pay tribute to the pig masks as well. So I think possibly a way to pare this down further is to choose between the two.
Between pig mask and go
Possibly. Yeah, maybe.
My personal view on this, and again, feel free to disagree on anything. When I'm looking in terms of how Smash does victory poses, and specifically the amount of time that each one of them takes, I feel like doing the having his army there, saluting him, cheering him on in his victory, that's going to fit the screen better than seeing a game of Go Fish and Porky throwing down cards. Presumably he lost in that match, especially since he just won a battle. And that feels like the Go Fish is going to be a longer animation than what the pig mask salute is going to be.
Oh, I understand, because it's a negative portrayal of Porky when he's supposed to be celebrated. You're saying, essentially.
That and the time element.
I get that. I get that. I do like it, and I think that could be another freaking losing pose. Possibly. Yeah, that's no, my views are mostly in line with yours. Mostly because I think we can communicate the effectiveness of the army as well, and yeah, I'm not sure. Trevor can totally feel free to contend. That's totally fine.
Nah, from the moment I heard it, I really liked the army idea as well, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So, you want to slot in army then as one of the poses?
I think we can slot
absolutely.
It in.
Okay. So, what else are we dealing with here as far as victory poses?
For a quick rundown of all the ideas that we have currently on the table, for taunts we have pointing and laughing with a pig snoring sound. We got spankety spankety, the spider leg yo-yo, neener neener, making his spider legs feel like in an attack mode type of position, stabbing the bee, and then his crying / laughter. Those are all of our possible taunts. Our victory poses are polishing the spider mech, eating bread, having the V for victory against the cardboard statue of Ness, flexing with the Pig King statue, and then him playing Go Fish. Those are the possibilities that we have at this point. Oh no, I think we just said no to Go Fish, didn't we? So technically that one's down.
This is difficult.
That's why when you said it was going to be easy, I was just like, are you sure about that?
No, that was my dry humor poking.
It's like to me, if I was to pick one more for each of these, this is just me spitballing here. I'm picking Spankety Spanky as a taunt. and I'm probably picking. Okay, this is my bias, but I really, really, really want at least one of either polishing or loaf of bread. I love them too much,
Yeah.
but I can be argued against it. But those
What
are
I feel
where
here,
I'm currently at.
where I'm currently at is I agree with you on Spankety Spankety for because although I love the Pig King idea that I created, and I was like, oh, this is uncanny. It's easier to communicate in a taunt because it's such a trademark of Porky that you would want to bring it up more frequently.
Right.
So it would be like having Pikachu without the taunt being like Pika Pika. So I think that Spankety Spankety boys can be a locked in taunt personally. And as far as victory poses are concerned, I feel strongly towards two of them, and it would give us an equal opportunity here to have each of our ideas represented as well. As far as Lister's ideas are concerned, I feel strongly about the loaf of bread since it was an official artwork. And as far as Trevor's ideas are concerned, I really like the victory pose with the Ness cutout for the characterization of Porky and Ness's history. That's kind of where I'm standing right now. Yeah?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, as far as taunts go, I just wanted to throw it out that I highly recommend the yo-yo, considering that's actually plot relevant in Mother 3, the yo-yo. So
that's true. That's true. Nice.
I also just found an artwork of Porky playing with Yo-Yo and with one of those with a slingshot as well. But I think Yo-Yo
wow, there's a Porky amiibo.
Well, it's not an amiibo; it's the clay art figures. But yes,
yeah.
So I was right. There is something of him having bread.
Mm-hmm. You know, this Porky figurine kind of looks a little like our Trevor and I's old friend Sammy.
A little bit.
And it's funny because Sammy also has a strong affiliation with spiders. Anywho. Oh yeah, taking it way back. But I agree with Trevor on the taunt.
So then it sounds like we've got two taunts and two victory poses locked in for the moment. We've got Spankety Spankety and Spider Leg Yo-Yo for taunts, and then Loaf of Bread and the Pig Mask Salute for victory poses. So we need to pick one more for each. Out of pointing and laughing with a snorting, neener neener, attack mode, stabbing a bee, crying / laughing for taunts, or polishing the mech, V for victory, and picking statue. Does anybody have any particularly strong thoughts with our final slots here? Well, I kind of feel like with your victor plus, I lean in one direction, but I'm not really sure overall.
Yeah, I have some concrete thoughts myself. But before I throw them out there, because I don't want to be too final, before I let Trevor talk, I'm going to let Trevor talk. What are you thinking, Trevor?
Shoot, I personally don't really. I think they're all pretty good, and I really want to hear what your thoughts are, actually, John.
Okay, my thoughts are, if it's difficult to choose between them just because they're all so good in concept, we have to return to the source material and see what relates best to the games and to Porky's character as it's represented in the games that he's in. And I think that in this case, again, V for victory for the victory pose seems very concrete, playing back into his backstory with Ness. And then for the taunt, it is on the tip of my tongue. I just forgot which taunt it was. Oh, no, I didn't. It's the fake crying.
Okay.
So those are my two leans.
V for victory was where I was definitely leaning for the victory pose because while I like the polishing one, I feel like we don't necessarily need both of them where he's doing something with the mech. But V for victory, having him sitting up next to that cardboard cutout of Ness and seeing it fall over, that's comedy. Love that. Between the taunts, I'm a little bit more unsure. We're saying that for that taunt, he starts off kind of like fake crying, and then it transitions into laughter.
Yeah, I think what you're thinking is might be a little bit long for a taunt.
I'm thinking that, and I'm also just having personal trouble envisioning it, just because I don't typically see people fake cry and then laugh. I see them cry so hard they start laughing. Just I've never seen somebody fake cry laugh.
All right. Might be difficult to translate then, as far as that's concerned.
That said, there's nothing wrong with him laughing.
No,
we have another one where he is laughing, and that one of the options that he has in when you're fighting with him as a character is he can just laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. Maybe just have him be laughing.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I want to move on past this portion. Let's just do it.
All right. So we've got our 3 taunts. We've got our entrance. We've got our Kirby hat. Or no, we don't have our Kirby hat. We still need to do that one.
No, we don't.
Oops.
No, we don't.
Kirby hat's
slow your
easy.
roll, Curbster. Yep.
So Kirby hat for me is just like, hey, look, you know that blonde mop of hair that kind of covers his eyes? Yeah, that's it. That's my Kirby hat. Pretty goddamn simple.
Yes, curb your enthusiasm, as they say, Trevor. That was a good one in chat. Yeah, I agree with the hat. There's really nowhere else you can take it.
Trevor?
That was the same thing I had, just with like suspenders on Kirby as well.
Oh,
all right.
That would be fun.
Well, you know what? I mean, they've been doing more things with their Kirby hats, giving them more. Like for the first time with Terry Bogard's Kirby hat, he actually has something changed with his hands. He's wearing gloves. That's the first time they've ever done that. So
oh my gosh! You know, that gives me a good idea too. What if, since we're talking about like more detail, what if Kirby, instead of just having a mask or a hat of Porky, he clones Porky, and there's another Porky who's squirming around on top of his head. And as you're fighting as Kirby, he's like, no, let me go. Don't use me as a pork shield. And he absorbs all damage while you also have full use of his moveset through a special skill set. Like if you press A and B, you use Porky's moves instead of Kirby's.
No.
Okay, Killjoys, but we'll see what the comments say.
I don't think we'll get any comments because nobody's watching this episode. Because our only viewer is part of the cast. So, moving on here, because we spent a long time on taunts and victory poses there, which not really surprising when we've got most people involved in this. But let's try and get to the special moves now. And Trevor, just so you're aware of how we do these, we're going to run through all of the moves, all 3 standards and all 3 sides and whatnot, and then we might mix and match some of them around as we go through, because you never know. Sometimes a standard, somebody else has a side.
Oh yeah, Gengar was fun.
Gengar, yes, he was.
That was quite the conversation.
Yeah. So okay. I'm expecting both there to be wildly different moves here, but also the exact same moves here, because I don't know if there's a whole lot that you can do with Porky, or at least from my limited research of him. So I'll start off here with my standard special, which I'm calling Stinky Gas, because apparently that's one of his attacks in the games. It's kind of funny. So Porky will kind of just like put this noxious green gas in front of him that if somebody runs through it, in my mind, I'm imagining that one of several status effects could happen. It's like a percentage chance of which one will appear. Either they get poisoned, they'll be stunned, maybe they'll trip, take some damage. Just something along those lines. Have like a random status effect. But not only could he put it in front of him, but you could, when using this move, tilt the control stick anywhere from straight to his left or straight to his right, and have the gas either come behind him, in front of him, on top, whichever way, because it's the gas is coming from these spider legs themselves, and he's kind of like raising the legs on where the gas is deployed. And I don't know why this is funny, but all right.
I really like the idea.
I like it.
Nearly put a move just like that in. It's just really good. I love the status effect chance for that too. It plays in well to how the final battles operate in the games too.
That's why I chose that.
Yep. And how about you, Trevor?
But for me, my standard
Mhm.
smash that I picked was,
Mm-hmm.
let's see, my standard smash is actually Melange thing
Nice.
that I filed under prank. So
Oh,
one
Okay.
several pranks can occur on a cyclic basis. The pranks available are as follows. The first one being Stinky Gas. The Spider Mech releases a green cloud of gas that reduces the strength of opponents' attacks who walk through it. The second prank is Inexplicable PSI. A light circle of telekinetic energy expands from Porky's head, reversing the controls for opponents in the radius who aren't dodging or shielding
oh,
for 2 seconds.
nice.
The third one is Blue Paint. Porky will toss a bucket of paint in the direction he is facing, causing the same effects as paint from Inklings.
Nice.
And the last one is Luxury Banana. Similar to how Diddy Kong's banana operates, Porky will eat a banana, recovering about 2%, then tossing the banana peel. The banana peel is then throwable like any other banana peel.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Now
So
I will tell you that is something that Lister nor myself could have come up with. I don't think
probably not.
that is cool. That is cool. I see how this is going to go straight away after that one.
I have a question about how that one works.
Yeah.
So, when you're using these, is there one that is like default, normally the always one that gets picked, or just like cycle through a set order? Is it randomized which one happens? Can you kind of pick and choose which one you want, like with Shulk's Monado arts? How does prank exactly work in the execution?
So this ties into the extra skill category that we also have as well. So the way
Ooh.
this operates is that while Porky is shielding, if you press the special button, then you can then see a small image that represents what sort of prank he will pull next. And you
Okay.
can cycle through. After using one, I imagine that there would be at least a 10-second wait for the same type of prank to be pulled again.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, you should be completely free to go and cycle back through and select it. So
Nice.
you should be able to select on a whim.
So it does have a set order, but when using the extra skill, you can choose what you want the next one to be, so long as you haven't used it in the last 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting, interesting.
Nice. All right, so mine is the least comical and or utilitarian of the standards, but I still think there's some utility here actually. But the thing is that I pulled it more from his brawl battle, so it's the Porky Laser, or I also have it kind of layered down as PK Beam, but I don't know if he was ever able to use that as one of his PSI powers. Oh yeah, okay. Well, let's just say it's PK
Oh
Beam.
no. Oh,
No.
I was just nodding to see. I see
Okay.
what you're doing.
Yep. But lifting the mech's front legs above his head, above the mech's head. Porky summons an orb of glowing reddish orange energy above his head. And that energy ball, like Mewtwo's Shadow Ball or anything else, can hurt opponents as it charges up. Mild shock damage. But once it's fully charged after a few seconds, what do you think happens?
It blows up.
No, and he doesn't release it either, like you might have been thinking. Once it's fully charged, you can keep holding the special attack button to unleash a laser beam, and that'll emit from the orb, and it'll start a couple feet away from Porky, and you can shoot it out like as far out as like Thoron would go, and just keep it as a continual stream of laser coming from this orb. But the longer that it goes, the less of an effect it will have. So at point blank range, you would deal more of a mighty blow upon initial impact and leave like flames along the ground and cause a flame status effect on opponents hit by it. But the further it goes out, it will barely make someone flinch. It will barely hurt them. But it can still like deflect projectiles at that point. So there's still some usefulness in it. So long as the special button is held, the laser will remain, although it diminishes over time. So eventually it will pull back and you'll have to recharge. And you can also tilt the control stick in a full 360-degree arc to move the laser
Ooh.
wherever. and it can be halted by certain blocks of platform still. Like if you're on Skyworld, it's not going to be able to go through that. It's not going to be able to go through blocks on Mushroomy Kingdom. And he retains some super armor frames while charging it up, but he's also left open to attack when letting his beam loose, while giving that pork out. So
I have a question there on how part of that works. You saying that first he has to charge up the orb, and then the orb will start throwing out a laser. How long does that initial charge take? Because, like if he just has it there, that's a long time. He could be a sitting duck.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, to be fair, he's in a mech, so he is a sitting duck. But
yep. I was just thinking a few seconds, like about as long as it would take to charge up Shadow Ball.
okay,
But maybe it would have to be longer, given the utility of the move.
I would think faster actually, because otherwise
really?
he's sitting
Okay.
there with just an orb over his head. He can't do anything with. He can't like launch it early like a Shadow Ball or
That's
a
true.
Phase Charge
That's true.
shot.
My concern was just because we don't have a move quite like it, I wasn't sure if it would be too OP one way or the other. But now that you mention it, okay, let's make it faster.
Well, we might have a move quite like it here in a bit.
Okay,
We'll see.
we'll see.
So my side
first-
special that I have down here, moving on, is probably the worst side special that's going to be mentioned here today. It's a simple move. I didn't have many other ideas for it. I call it 8-legged rush because spider mech, and you charge it up much like Ike's quick draw, and he just charges forward, crawling on his little spider-like legs, and he just runs into something. Simple enough. 8-legged rush. I had nothing else to go on.
Not bad. 8-legged rush sounds like something that I found on a website recently.
I wanted it to sound slightly better than Spider Run or Spider Charge. Like 8-legged rush sounds interesting. That's a better name.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a better name than he wields a gun for his neutral special. Gun. Thanks, Joker. Thanks.
The website's main colors and its logo are orange and black. Anyway.
Oh boy. Halloween.
Yep, Halloween.com. So, how about that side special, Trevor?
All right, my side special is counter PSI unit.
Nice.
So for this special, Porky Spider Mech pushes out a magenta field in a direction held that reflects any projectiles that run into it. The field disappears after either 3 projectiles hit it or 10 seconds elapse. The shield stays around after you've deployed it, and you can move about while it is deployed.
Okay.
Nice. I dig it.
What did you say that one was called again?
A counter PSI unit.
Okay.
All right, and mine is once again taking not the least exciting route, but probably the most obvious route. Porky Bot. Where Porky pops open the front hatch of his mech, and a Porky Bot comes scurrying out. And we saw how they kind of work in Brawl, in the Subspace Cemetery, where they're running about in frantic fashion, kind of similar to Bowser Jr.'s Mecha Koopas, and they explode upon impact too. But while Porky Bots can hone in on chase opponents, they also move faster than Mecha Koopas do. So, and it actually nerfs them in a sense because they have a tendency to trip. So,
and probably low jumping capabilities.
Yeah, low jumping capabilities too. And every so often, the Porky Bot will trip and fall, and it'll explode earlier than intended after shaking its head in embarrassment. And really only one Porky Bot can remain on stage at a time, otherwise it would be ridiculously overpowered. And once it leaves the stage, Porky will have to wait a few seconds before summoning the next. Done.
All right. So moving into our specials here, before I go ahead and say what mine is, I want to mention real quick a bit of how I imagine Porky jumps normally. So I don't imagine him having anything more than the regular 2 jumps. But the interesting thing I have in mind is that with his jumps, like his standard jump when he's on the stage, I don't imagine him having a lot of height to it. Instead, I feel more like a spider. When he jumps, he doesn't jump like high in the air. He jumps far to the side. So you can get some good horizontal distance with just like a basic jump. But then with his midair jump, I kind of don't imagine it's really much of a boost at all. It's probably one of the worst midair jumps in the game. Because what can he jump off of that's really going to work well for the Spider Mech? But for his up special, I have it as he can jump up really high vertically, but with very little horizontal distance. And I call this up special. Well, originally it was going to be called Arachnid Leap. Then I realized, wait a minute, I can add something to this, and I didn't know what the name of the attack was. So thank you, John, for telling me that it was called Porky Laser, because I called this move Arachnid Laser. And the way that I'm envisioning is, the Spider-Mech will jump up high into the air, and you can choose to hover there for a brief few seconds while the laser builds up above Porky's head, and he kind of like shoots a beam of energy straight down, kind of like the attack in Smash Bros. Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I came up with this up special. I didn't know it was called Porky Laser, or else I probably would have titled it that. So it was just like, it's a laser, it's a Spider-Mech, Arachnid Laser. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you know what? That reminds me, Arachnid Leap reminds me of an old hip-hop song called Quantum Leap. And if it were Arachnid Leap, it would be like, do the Arachnid Leap, Urakak Meiji. Old school info fans, you know where we're at.
TV show, though.
Yep. So I just wanted to interject quickly with that because funny thing about our up specials, they're the same damn thing.
So you have two moves that are Porky Laser.
Yeah, except I just called mine Laser Hover. Porky hops into the air and uses his laser to shoot from off of the ground, and he can hover around in a way similar to like a more like stuttery version of Peach's final jump.
Okay.
Yeah. And how about Trevor?
Is it the same thing, Trevor?
It was, but then I decided to edit it slightly.
Okay.
So the only thing I did was that I took out the laser component and added omnidirectional movement component.
Oh, so nice.
Instead of jumping up, a propeller pops out, and for 1.5 seconds, Porky is carried by the Spider-Copter in any direction, any way that you want. And that's about it. I decided purely to focus on movement, maybe some propeller damage, but
so
like a better version of King K. Rool.
Yeah, that was my idea.
So does he actually like eject from the mecha suit when this is happening, or is the propeller carrying the suit as well?
It's carrying the whole suit as well.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's nice.
And what was that move called again? Did you have a name for that?
Spider-Copter?
Spider-Copter. Okay.
Spider-Copter. If I do more, we're gonna get a copyright strike.
Yes, and then this episode will be 3 hours long.
Yep.
So my down special is actually very similar to Trevor's side special, except mine is the PSI counter device.
Mm-hmm.
And like it looks like this glowing 3-piece shield that just kind of it's projected in front of him, and it will reflect ranged moves. Except in my mind, it's not really working on just really any ranged moves. Like it's not going to work on Link's arrows, but energy-based moves or magic or especially psychic moves, it's going to reflect those. Shadow Ball, bye. Fox's lasers, bye. PK Freeze, get out of here with that shit. But to add just a little bit to that, I feel like in order to just make this a touch better, moves that are classified as psychic are not only reflected by this counter device, but they will actually give Porky a limited time stat boost to his attack power.
Nice.
Because he's channeling that psychic energy and making his mecha more powerful.
I love that idea.
What you
Me
got?
too.
Oh, shoot.
What you say?
Well, I have something that Jonathan had earlier for my down special. I have
the Porky Bot.
Yeah, except for the case of editing it a bit, I'm going to wing it right now and call it Pig Mask Drop. So
nice.
So out from the bottom of the Spider Mech, Pig Mask comes out. You get and they attempt to bum rush opponents. You get an 80% chance that pink-colored regular Pig Mask infantry comes out. You get a 15% that a Pig Mask commander comes out, and which hits harder, and then a 5% chance for the elite Navy Squeal officer to come out and hit for about 12% each tackle.
Nice. Very good. Very good. So the Porky bot is not involved at all in this move set in this move. It's just
was. Then I changed it on the fly right now.
Nice. My down special, I am not going to change it on the fly because I have that kind of creative license with the series. So I'm just going to say that it's Stinky Gas. But I have him using it differently.
Okay, let's hear it.
So Porky retracts the Spider-Mech's legs and spins in place like a spinning top, at like a obnoxious speed. And as he does this, he unleashes a cloud of the gas that surrounds him for a few seconds. Then anyone caught in the gas will contract a status infect. Flinching, tripping, sleeping, confusion, blah 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 blah. And while they're held in that position with some sort of status effect, it might give Porky more of an opportunity to attack his opponent. So it's a defensive mechanism that also has a bit of an offensive side at the start.
So if I'm understanding correctly, he'll spin in place, and the Stinky Gas will center itself on him before expanding out a bit, and he can move out of that, and opponents can run into it and wind up hurting themselves, and he can run back and attack them.
Yeah, there's the Stinky Gas. So he retracts the legs back into the suit, and the gas emits from the holes with the legs. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, we got our specials.
All right. Well, let's talk about our final smashes next, and we'll get into our extra skills, and we can kind of start mixing and matching here, because I can tell that's definitely going to be happening with these moves, where we have some similarities in just various places. So for my final smash, it's actually just being called the Devil's Machine. So how I envision this is smash. Porky. Well, it might be all of our final smash by the look on Trevor's face. So yes. So what I have envisioned here is that you see Porky. I don't even. This isn't even a cutscene final smash for me. I see Porky. He's there. The Devil's Machine is in front of him, and he turns it off to release Gygus. So the big swirling red and black mass comes out from the center point of where Porky's machine was. It starts to envelop the entire background of the stage.
Oh, nice.
And then when it sees that, you start seeing it swirling around, and the screen fades to black, complete black, and you see this EarthBound style text box appear that says the text: "You cannot grasp the true form of Gygus' attack," ripping straight from that boss fight. And when everything fades back in, the players that are closest to Porky take the most amount of damage to knockback, while those that are far away from him, and it scales pretty heavily, take much less damage. So like if you're on the other side of the screen, you're not going to take much at all, because we're not going to say, "Hey, look, you were on the complete other side when I used this. Oh, but now you're dead." That's some nonsense. But if you're right next to Porky when you use it, you might be dead. You very well might be.
Yeah. Nice. I approached mine from the angle CGI cutscene, which is really the only difference. I have the text box and everything, but it's just Porky propels himself forward with a jet engine built into the Spider-Mech, kind of like your 8-legged Rush or whatever it was called. And anyone hit by that will be dragged into a CGI cutscene where he quickly shuts down the Devil's Machine. And then the full power of Gygus is unleashed, fills up the screen, yada yada. He shrieks as he does, and wrapping terrified opponents in a dark psychedelic fog as Gygus assaults them with a barrage of imperceptible attacks. And that's the only difference is utility, but the idea is the same.
All right. So what's your version of Devil's Machine there, Turbo?
Oh, so well, actually, I didn't have Devil's Machine.
Oh, really?
So I went a bit more Mother 3 with this one, and I decided to go with Pick King Parade. So at first, Porky will hit an area that's one full arm reach, which should be about 1.5 DKs across. And anybody hit by that will be knocked into one of those CGI screens where a bunch of the Pig Mask army will start to run into them for percent. And then the giant statue, the Pig King statue that you might know from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, comes through menacing and then comes and knocks them away with its long, lanky arm. And at that point, that is when the final knockback is dealt to the opponents for roughly 50% if you're going to keep track of stats.
All
Nice.
right. So the last thing we've got here is our extra skills. And mine, it's very similar to two different moves that you both did, but with a different name and a slightly different mechanics that I might have changed after hearing some comments from YouTube. I'm calling this extra skill Drone Deployment. And hey, look, he launches a Porky drone. What a fantastic concept here. So much like, Bowser Jr.'s Mecha Koopas, they run around for a little bit, they try and chase after an opponent. Actually, no, let me change it here. The Porky bots do not chase. They just run back and forth from the platforms that they're on, and then they'll explode after a short time. They have their chances of tripping, to be sure. But there is a roughly 15% chance that instead of dropping a Porky drone, out will instead pop a Pig Mask Trooper. One of the more basic versions, the ones that just, it's going to be the same really sized Porky drone, but these ones will chase opponents. They'll be a little bit faster, but instead of exploding with an opponent, they'll get them in like they'll just beat up on them a little bit, do some attacks, and then they'll disappear in a tiny little death sequence.
At what point does Orbulon appear in this?
Orbulon is being saved for his own moveset episode, where we're going to be talking about WarioWare and all things WarioWare, except that's not happening because Orbulon is one of the worst WarioWare characters. I'm saying it here.
Wow,
put him in his pig UFO and just have him pop out of Porky.
That
and
sounds
around opponents.
Weird. So no.
Oh yeah. Okay, Trevor. I think we already covered your extra skill, actually.
But
yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to your extra skill?
Shoot, no. Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
So mine is my incorporation of the Pig King statue. So the Pig King statue manifests behind Porky, and this is how I'm giving him some extra air, because I imagine Porky's jump very similarly to Lister. So on top of having the laser hover horizontal distance with his up special, I paired the Pig King statue with Porky, and he just kind of lankily and awkwardly grabs the spider mech and tosses Porky up into the air. So, that could damage some opponents too during his ascent, but mostly it's a means of getting Porky extra airtime and giving him essentially souped up extra jump. And on top of that, I'm not sure if it should really be restricted to ground use or not, since it be overpowered if not. But then again, we also are dealing with the potential of giving him omnidirectional. So maybe spare use to use it everywhere, and then you could have the Pig King statue fall over and fall to the that could be a way to do it. Have the Pig King statue attempt to lift Porky in midair, except then fall out of frame before it can do so if you use it in midair.
Like Pac-Man's fire hydrant.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be all the moves that we've come up with. Now it's just going to be a matter of what are we using and what button is it mapped to. The only thing I can say for certain is that in some form, either on its own name or as part of Prank, Stinky Gas is going to be used somewhere. And some form of Porky Bot deployment is going to be used somewhere as well. Or Big Mask. Who knows? I think the first thing that we need to figure out, though, is are we going to be using Stinky Gas as Stinky Gas? Or are we going to be using Prank, and then with Prank would come the extra skill associated with it? How do we want to go about that? Because I feel like if we're using Prank, envisioning it under Turbo's vision here, that we must also use the extra skill that works with it. Otherwise, we got some extra complication there.
I think... Yeah.
Although
retool it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, alternatively, we could retool much like how Shulk's Monado Arcs retooled for Ultimate, where pressing the button for prank uses the next prank, but if you hold it down, you could select which one you're wanting to use.
I
I
agree.
see.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. Also, I think that prank, the second Trevor came out with that, I was like, oh crap, this is showing that Lister and I are a little bit out of our breath here. Because prank was uncanny, and I think it was the star of the show. So I would definitely throw my vote for prank as a standard.
I'm good for prank.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. It may not actually be this. Wow, words. It may not even need to be the standard special.
Me
It
not
could
how
still
I
fall
have
under. It could still become the down or the extra skill, depending on how we throw things around here.
Yeah.
Because that's a move
That's the
that can
thing,
fit
so-
multiple places.
Yeah, and everything is fluid, as Gengar kind of proved last time around.
Yeah, no kidding.
It was fun, but also painful,
Mm-hmm.
as this will be.
Yeah. So we know we're gonna use prank somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Final Smash. We got Devil's Machine and we got Pig King Parade. What we thinking here? Because my mind naturally goes to Devil's Machine, but that's probably because I don't know Mother 3. I don't know really the significance of the Pig King statue or the parade or anything like that. So I can't. That was just hard for me to look at because I don't know it. But Trevor, what do you think here?
I think Devil's Machine is a fantastic Final Smash. And I'm going to say, like, there is no actual parade in Mother 3. I just made that up as a move. So
I mean, there's no
I will
actual
concede
parade
this
of
one.
Yoshi's either.
True. But I will easily concede this, the Devil's Machine. That's a fantastic idea for a Final Smash, I must say.
All right.
Yeah, all the people on Smashboards and Reddit that I took the idea from probably agree. So,
I mean, to be fair, most of the ideas that I had seen come around were either Devil's Machine or the Pig King statue. That was pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So I think there was one that used like the Natural Killer sideboard, but that was it.
Nice. Yeah, I agree here. I think my lane of thinking here is Spider Mech is more of an Earthbound base, and Devil's Machine is more of an Earthbound base. So it kind of goes hand in hand, and I think Gygus played a large part in corrupting Porky, and if there's some place that we can include him, it's handily the Final Smash.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, I almost didn't make him be the Final Smash because I was thinking like, but what if we want to do an episode that where Gygus is the character we're discussing, and then we have a Frahm and Robin scenario.
Oh well. Oh well, that's all there is to it.
Well, yeah,
we'll do it like 5 years from now and then forget that we ever did this, so it's fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gosh.
So I think the next place we need to look at as we start narrowing things down is our up special, because there's nothing else in there that compares to anything else we have, so we can figure it out separately from our other possibilities. We've got Arachnid Laser / Laser Hover, which are more or less the same attack. And then we have Trevor's Spider-Copter.
Yeah, that's a tenuous locale to traverse, because here we are, you and I, just lolling about, choosing Laser Hover because we know it from Brawl, pretty much, I think. And then and I think and I played it into a utilitarian stance too, with it being incorporated with my extra skill having that function. But Trevor's Copter is uncanny because it's something that we don't see, like in the research we put into this, seeing, oh, what did everyone else come up with? No one came up with that.
No.
It's a fresh idea, whereas
to be fair, we couldn't come up
works.
with it.
Of course, we could have come up with it, but it was not something that came to mind ultimately. So I got to give some points in that direction. Laser Hover, I think, would be harder hitting, or Arachnid Laser because that's a cooler name. But the Copter, I think, might just help Porky out more, having such a stunted jump. And I would imagine, since it's in the Spider Mech, you can probably have him hit a little K Copter. And I imagine it, like moving around a little bit laboriously, more so than K. Rool's Copter 2, because you're in this giant mech suit. So that's kind of my feeling on it. I'm not sure which to choose between the two, but I'm just tossing it out there that they're both good ideas.
Trevor?
Oh well, shoot. I mean, I really like the idea and the implementation of it from brawl into a character move set. It was really that was a challenge, just trying to operate that into a recovery style move. But the way that it's been described seems pretty well done, and plus I like the name Arachnolaser, just be clear biases. But shoot, so in terms of like how you guys described the implementation, I really like that. And I think as far as balancing out the jumping movement that you guys had, particularly ascribed to a Porky and the Spider Mech, it makes a lot of sense, offsetting the horizontal movement with some vertical as a special. So I got to give a lot of credence to the Arachnolaser.
Huh. Okay.
So,
Cool.
unless I'm misunderstanding, it kind of sounds like you're advocating to use Arachnid Laser as opposed to Spider Copter for the up special. Am I correct in that?
And let's make this
No.
interesting. Let's make nice. Let's make this interesting because he's advocating for our move. I'm going to advocate for his. So you're the tiebreaker.
Well, I was waiting to hear what he actually said before you interrupted him. So,
Oh no, he said no.
I don't want. I don't want to vote for my own. I think it'd be an interesting moveset movement as far as the movement I'm thinking, but I think that these come in to two different mindsets on how the jumping and movement of the Spider Mech would go as we envisioned it. So ultimately, it just depends on what your purview of how the mech operates and what best makes for a balanced movement, like gameplay mechanic wise, in my thought. So I think that's why they really both have merit in individual ways, which is why we need you as the tiebreaker.
well,
we need you.
Let me ask this about the Spider Copter. Okay, so Copter comes out of him, and your vision is working similar to King K. Rool's propeller move that he uses as well, where he can kind of like have some pretty good control over where he goes. There's some good horizontal distance as well as vertical, and the propeller 4 of it damages, and it's pretty speedy. If Porky is using this move, because it's coming from a spider mech, I'm assuming that either the propeller itself has to be much larger and creating a wider attack window, or it's got to be slower and it's got to be worse, really, compared to K. Rool's in terms of distance. Because otherwise, it doesn't make as much sense seeing the spider copter or this large spider mech flying through the stage at high speeds. That's crazy to me.
Absolutely, and that was what I was thinking: is that it would be slower.
Okay. Yeah. But my natural inclination is to go with Arachnid Laser because that does pull from both an attack from EarthBound and is also a reference to the boss battle from Brawl. And I think you said that Spider Copter or something similar to it is also seen in either EarthBound or Mother 3. Is that correct?
Did I?
I don't remember.
I don't think I did.
So it was more like something new, something unique.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was retooling of something I saw from Brawl.
Okay. In that case, my mind kind of more naturally goes to Arachnid Laser. I do tend to have a tendency with moves to try and pull from source as much as possible, even sometimes to a moveset's own detriment. There are some characters that I would never been able to create as good a moveset as Sakurai would, because I would have stuck with the source material. It's definitely happened. God, there's so many characters that he's done better than me just because he actually was a bit more creative. It happens. But if you guys are leaving up to me to decide this tiebreaker here, I'm probably going to go with Arachnid Laser.
All right.
What if you summon Orbulon?
What if we moved on to a different move?
Okay.
That's a good what if.
Yes, yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is.
like a good what if of, what if Star Lord was actually Black Panther?
That would cause some sort of cultural riots. I'll tell you that much.
Stay tuned to the episode on Disney Plus to find out. So, looking
Yeah,
at
that
our
wouldn't
remaining
surprise me.
moves
All right,
here. Yes?
just get
Okay. Well, moving on
oh,
with our actual moves here, we've still got the
Star
standard,
Lord.
side,
Um,
down, and extra skills to determine. And we know for sure we're going to be using Prank somewhere. We
mhm.
know. Actually, that's really only. Oh, yeah, and we also know that we're going to be doing the drone somehow as well. Let's see here. On the side special, we have either eight-legged rush, which I think we were all agreement that's probably not happening.
Mhm.
Well, actually, I don't know, considering some of these other options. Because we've also got the counter PSI unit, which could also be down special or extra skill even, and then Porkybot, which could be again down or extra skill. So it's going to be more of where we want some of these moves. Because if we put down special as PSI counter device, or oh, actually no, all these can go literally anywhere, except for eight-legged rush. Everything can go anywhere. So it's like, what are we doing here? So I think I'm just going to approach it as between, because we've got these four moves, between prank, counter PSI unit, or slash PSI counter device, whatever name we wind up calling it, Porkybot deployment, and there was one more, and I lost it.
The pig-esque thing.
That was the same thing. Because we got
Okay.
prank, we got the counter unit, we got drone deployment for four moves. So I don't. So we're missing something here. Oh, maybe we do need eight-legged rush. Shit, we might actually have to use that shitty move. Either that, or we're doing the Pig King statue thing for the extra skill. We have to use one of them.
Maybe.
Mapping this out, one of those has to be done here. So I guess we must figure out which one of those are we doing. Is Pig King statue going to throw Porky, or are we going to have eight-legged rush in here?
Uh, I have an answer, but it's the one that is because basically that I made the move.
All right, so let's turn to Trevor here.
I have an answer, but it's because Jonathan made the move.
Well, here's another thing because it also plays into an element of Porky that is big in Mother 3.
So, just so I have the familiarity on the move, can you explain your Pig King statue move to me once more?
Yeah, so the Pig King statue appears behind Porky and pulls him up into the air. So he's throwing the spider mech into the air so Porky gets some more air to his jumping capabilities, which would otherwise be pretty stunted. And Porky can damage opponents on the way up.
So it sounds like it's more or less a second up special, if I'm understanding this here.
Essentially.
Okay. Here's a thought. Here's a thought. What if what if we make that either be the side or the extra skill, and instead of being like a straight up throw, what if you could angle between either straight forward or like a 45-degree angle area? Well, maybe straight up to you, like going from 0 to 90 degrees, so he could throw you in any direction based on where you're tilting the control stick. What if we did that for Picking statue?
I like that. I'm
And
about
then
that life.
and then we could make that one be. I'm kind of feeling that one could be the side special. Just my thoughts here. Make
Okay.
standard special be prank. Down special would be one of our versions of either counter PSI unit or PSI counter device. We still have to figure that out. And then the extra skill could be him deploying the drones.
So one other thought that I had on the Pig King move is that right now I just call it Pig King statue, but if you want to play into the hearts and minds of today's youth, we can call it Pig King Yeet.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to go that direction.
Yeah. Oh, yep, I agree. Everyone is a winner here.
So how do we like where those moves are landing? We still have to discuss a couple of them, but in terms of like what buttons they are mapped to, do we like that?
Yes, I do. I do.
Trevor? Bringing it back around, Trevor?
Yep, we're seeing some things on camera.
Yeah, one
Oh my
second.
gosh.
It's something to attend to on the side for a sec.
Okay.
So, to recap there, I was saying that prank would be standard special. Side special could be the Pig King toss, Pig King statue. Maybe we'll workshop a name at some point. Up special is our reactive laser. Down special would be counter PSI unit / PSI counter device. We need to hash that one out a little bit. And then extra skill, one of our variations of Porky deploying the drones.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that moveset, to be honest.
Okay.
Agreed.
Then the only things we need to have left to discuss on the moveset are between the counter PSI device, your version, or PSI counter, or counter PSI unit was yours, sorry, and then PSI counter device was my version. Which one of those are we going to do here?
Yours.
Mine?
I love the idea of it, the PSI tax giving a boost to Porky, and I think it's a fantastic addition to the moveset, so why not?
All right. Then we just need to figure out which version of our drones we're going to be doing. We had Jonno where they deployed Porky Bots, you were deployed Pig Mass Troopers, and then me taking advantage of both y'all, and where it deploys either or.
In that case, I think we should go with yours because it encompasses everything. I don't think you named all of the specific enemies that Trevor did in his. I think that we can consolidate it by having all of them appear and just have it be at a random percentage rate. And that's how we get the best of all those worlds.
The only reason why I didn't mention all of this is because I don't know them, and I was keeping it relatively simple. Because Smash has done these random elements, and like in the next game they'll cut it down a little bit. Like King Dedede originally could throw Waddle Dees, Waddle Doos, or Gordos, and then Smash 4, we killed the D's, we killed the Doos. Now he only throws Gordos. So I kept it simple as going like, all right, so we got the Porky Bots and we got the Pig Mass Troopers. They do similar but different things. Boom, there you go. I'm not. We can do more, but that was the reason why I only included those two.
What if Porky threw Chucky?
What if he didn't, and we figured this out?
There's a way to incorporate Boppo in there, I'm sure.
I don't
Hi,
know
I'm
that there
Boppo.
is.
Yep. Okay. We can tiebreaker the heck out of this then. I know why they did that with opposed to it because it makes them more competitively viable. At the same time, I did enjoy the D's and the Do's. So I am leaning in the direction of D and the Do justice and voting for we do all the things.
Trevor?
How does the bearded hero feel?
Bearded hero. Wow, slowed words.
Yeah.
I like the more the merrier. I think that also goes in the spirit of everyone is here. So I would like to have everybody all included too.
All right, then we'll do just that indeed.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
So we're nearly done with Porky's moveset here. We've only got a few things left to discuss. First of all, unique traits. Is there anything that we want to give Porky as a unique trait? Something like being able to crawl, which personally I can't see it in a freaking mech, or like wall clinging, wall climbing, something like Bowser's tough guy mechanic. But personally, I didn't write anything down there. I felt like the Spider-Man kind of made some of those a little bit difficult to envision. But what about you guys?
What are you thinking, Trevor?
I didn't have anything. The only thing that came to mind that the special would be maybe a smash taunt, which I'm not even sure if you guys would consider that such a special thing, but just some extra thing to pop up whenever Ness or Lucas are on the field.
Oh, nice.
That's it, though.
Okay.
Along what lines? Like you would say or do something different, you're saying?
Yeah, I've not really planned for this occurrence or talking about this, so I don't know off the top of my head. But
that's totally fine.
I could easily imagine that to be an additional trait to have. But
Yeah, we can.
I believe you're talking about like the graphic that appears, where it just like smash with like a lot of A's in the word. Is that correct?
that would be cool.
Okay, here's what I'll suggest you. And I was thinking about this earlier, and we can retroactively add this to both Ness and Lucas's movesets as well. Both of those.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Smash Taunt, I thought that was the official name of when you hold a taunt as a pit to like get the Palutena correspondence
No, those,
on.
I think those are just called like either like a special or like a or like for Palutena's guidances or Snake's Codex. I don't know if they have another name beyond that.
Okay, okay.
So are you saying Porky would have dialogue on all the fighters, and it's like a
No,
special?
just Nex and Lucas, but
Nice.
and possibly Ninten if Ninten were to be a potential character.
Also, a smash taunt is the official terminology.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Yep. Yeah, the only reason my mind went to the Smash graphic is because we were talking about the Smash graphic earlier.
So, like, previous characters that have those, they've had one for every character besides DLC characters for those games. But
well, Fox and Falco didn't really. They had discussions with the Star Fox team.
Only on well, that's true. They do discuss with the Star Fox team on the Corneria stage. That was really the beginning of it all.
Yep.
So maybe there would be something where he could make some comments, but I wouldn't call that like a unique trait for him. That would be more like a special taunt.
Yeah. So my unique feature, I actually did have some down. I'm not sure if you're ready for this because it could change the entire way that we perceive his moveset, and I don't know if we have the running time for that, which we don't. Hell no. But I'll say it anyway. His unique feature is that he's in a mech.
All right.
Oh
well,
no.
Yep.
So just a brief question on that: are you envisioning that maybe he has some extra form of super armor?
That no, he's just in one.
Okay, so it's just the aesthetics that we already know that he's in a mech.
Yeah, he's there.
Okay. In that case, since we've got pretty much lined out as no, he doesn't really have anything extra special to him from that point on. The only things we have left to determine on Porky are his home stage and his alternate costumes. For my home stage, I just decided to be plain and simple. We've already got it. Newport City. It fits him perfect. I didn't feel the need to come up with anything new.
What I chose for this is Newport City.
Then it sounds like we're in agreement.
But there's an addition of Orbulon.
No, there's not.
Orbulon platform for Smash.
Yeah, I agree. So that's about it. That's we're in agreement. Good. We can move that past us. So what are we thinking as far as alt costumes? I actually wrote mine out this time. Amazing.
Oh, awesome. The ones that I came up with, they're really not much. The Ness and Lucas have some interesting costumes where a lot of time were similar to like slight color variances, or they'll have a little design on their shirt. Like I think Lucas has Boney on his shirt, and Ness has a Master Belt shirt, which I love. It's funny. What I came up with Porky is just kind of a similar thing. The mech will have slight color tints to it, but the real change is going to be Porky's outfit, and I have where his outfit will change color and have reference to various different characters and bosses from the EarthBound games. So I've got his default form, naturally. We got a look based off of the Masked Man, Gygus, Old Porky from Mother 3, the Mecha Drago, the Ultimate Chimera, Frank Fly, Master Belch, Lord Passion. I don't know who that is. It's just a funny name. He looks like a conductor of some sorts. And then, as a nice little throwback to one of Trevor's old submissions on SSB Mercurius, the New Age Retro Hippie.
Oh, I thought it was Puyo Boss. New Age Retro Hippie School.
So that's really all I came up with for the costumes.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that you came up with that idea because I didn't, and mine are more boring. Basically, the only thing that I really came up to mind that is a little different. You said old Porky. I'm just saying, like Porky. Like, are you imagining that like Porky all discolored kind of?
Yeah, where he like looks a little bit more gray. And he's wearing like that business suit in EarthBound 3. I didn't know what else to call it other than old Porky. So.
Yeah. That was me. That was what I was thinking too. I called him discolored Porky. I think old Porky's better than discolored Porky.
I mean, discolored
um,
Porky might be more accurate. Who knows?
Old and discolored Porky. Let's just drive it into him. I did come up with a couple of pig mech. Yeah, the spider mech becomes a mix of blue, gray, and red, along with the discolored Porky, which kind of plays back into Gygas's colors in Mother, uh, Mother Earthbound Zero.
Yeah.
And then one where Porky's hair turns black and he wears Ness's outfit, and the spider mech becomes red to be Ness inspired. Otherwise, they're just like different color variations. Oh, the mech becomes purple, and Porky gets a purple overalls and shirts, gold, pink, green, blah blah blah. Not that exciting. Yeah, that's about it. How about you, Trevor?
The first one that came to mind was Apple Kid. He's a slightly rotund inventor who is a helpful side figure in Earthbound, and he would be perfect. You just need to turn Porky's hair red, give him a red shirt, and that's about it.
Nice.
Maybe give Rosie Tin to the Spider Mech. And maybe throw some references to the menu flavors that you can choose at the beginning of the game with some of them, and make alt for Picky. So you have a black shirt with a white P on it, his little brother. And other than that, I just had variants of going back and forth between really, really old Porky and young Porky as well. The suit and tie, like you mentioned.
So maybe in terms of his actual design, 5 of them where it looks like Porky from Earthbound, and then with some different colors, with another 5 where it's like his actual business suit that we see in Earthbound or Mother 3, with again varying colors. And sometimes like the pattern might change, like how Ness shirt has like actually Master Belch on it. Like he might not look like the business suit, but in terms of the rest of Porky's design, he has that older look to him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think we can definitely do that.
Yeah, we can, and I think we're running short on time. Actually, we've been having too much fun, so I think we can workshop what alternate costumes we choose, just kind of out of cast.
Yeah,
and we'll get it up on the Smashtopia wiki and post a link with the video, and everyone can see that when it's up.
Yep.
That'll be good and fine. In the meantime, though, I'm thinking, is there anything else Porky related that anyone has to say or add or anything?
Honestly, I really want this character in. Are there other characters I want more? Yes, but Porky would be fantastic. It'd be such a cool new addition that's different from really everything else. And
oh yeah,
I mean Earthbound. Yeah, sure, the series is dead. Technically, it's maybe completed is a better word for it, since the director said that he doesn't have any more ideas for the franchise. But honestly, I feel like the series can use 1, maybe 2 more characters, and Porky is one of them.
Absolutely, I agree entirely. How about Turbo?
Well, what I'm thinking is that I'd love to see him in. I'd just love to see more Mother representation, whether it would be bringing him back as Spirit, putting more references in. But honestly, from putting this character together with you guys, I would love to see this in Smash now.
Agreed.
Or
and who knows, with that...
At the very least, give him to us as an assist trophy or a new boss fight. The fact that he's one of the few bosses completely missing is just so strange. Because even, like, I'm pretty sure Petey Piranha has a spirit, but Porky's got nothing in Ultimate. It's really weird. It's why back when DLC was first being talked about, people thought, oh, maybe we'll get Porky because he doesn't have a spirit, and it's really strange. It's one of the biggest, oddest omissions for spirits in Smash.
Yeah. Part of my personal dream is that as we get out of the Fighters Pass and into just individual DLC releases, which kind of sounds like is where we're going in the future, that we start getting first party and second party inclusions as well, and Porky is among them.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that that's the best chance as any to see Porky
Mhm.
Incorporated, and hopefully maybe with enough waiting and
Mhm.
asking, or who knows what they have in the
Yeah.
works already. I
Yeah,
guess
it's like
we could.
Yeah.
it's like at time of recording, we don't know what's happening with Smash DLC past the initial Fighter Pass. But
Mhm.
personally, I'm thinking if we get a Fighter Pass 2, like an actual another pass, probably going to be more just all third parties. But if we get more individual releases, kind of like what Piranha Plant was, I would love to see more actual Nintendo characters make the roster. Whether that's Geno, Porky, Edelgard, uh, one of the new Pokemon. I'd love to
Aztec.
see. I'd love to see some more actual Nintendo characters make it on, besides like another third party rep. Nothing against the
Can you
third
imagine
parties,
just
but
capping it off on Piranha Plant for first and second party reps?
why would it cap off on
Yeah.
Piranha Plant? Oh, you mean if that
Oh,
was the
just as
only
far. Yeah.
DLC we had gotten?
Yeah.
I would be angry, so angry.
Yep.
Imagine how
Yep.
take how pissed I was when Piranha Plant was initially released and just magnified by 1,000.
Oh yeah. No, I meant the only first party or second party character.
I mean,
But
I
still.
already expect that. That's fully
Yeah.
what I
Me
expect.
too.
I
But that.
fully expect we're getting Fighter Pass 2 with just 5 more third parties. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, you can call Geno third party at least.
I mean, he is technically.
Yeah. There you go. You can call Omega Waluigi third party. So Sario and all those guys from fanfic.net or Yoshi Forum fanfictions.
Probably not.
I think this is a good time to say that our next episode is Master Dash, rounding out our first trio of guest episodes, featuring my good friend and Trevor's good friend and Lister's new friend, Jamie Alamorad, who has been a Discord server. Join us on Discord if you want to, and he's a regular old gamer alongside a great rock singer songwriter. And we're going to talk a little bit about his new album at the start, get into kind of the music territory, which is weird because that's what I primarily do. And now it's like crossing worlds. And just it's going to be a good old time where we deliberate over Toad and Captain Toad and Shadow and Zero. So 4 anti-heroes, if you lost count.
Okay.
Yeah. So with that said, any final remarks, gentlemen?
I've already said him.
I've already said them.
Sweet
Alrighty.
spankety.
All right. I love you both. I love our listeners. I love you both, listeners. And thank you. Thanks for the conversation. This was a lot of fun. Let's do it again sometime. Goodbye to you all. And
See you next
Godspeed.
time.
Bye.